At the words of the preacher, part 7. A good name is better than precious ointment, and the day of death than the day of one's birth. It's better to go to the house of mourning than to go to the house of feasting, for that is the end of all men, and the liver laying to his heart. Sorrow is better than laughter, for by sadness the countenance of the heart is made better. The heart of the wise is in the house of mourning, but the heart of fools is in the house of mirth. So it is better to hear the rebuke of the wise than for a man to hear the song of fools. For as the crackling of thorns under a pot, so is the laughter of the fool. For this is vanity. So surely oppression maketh the wise man mad, and the gift destroyeth the heart. Better is the end of a thing than the beginning, and the patient in spirit better than the proud in spirit. So be not hasty in thy spirit to be angry, for anger resteth in the bosom of fools. Say not thou, what is the cause? That the former days are better than these. Thou dost not inquire wisely concerning this. Wisdom is good with an inheritance, for by it there is profit to them that see the sun. As wisdom is a defense, and money is a defense, but the excellency of knowledge is that wisdom giveth life to them that have it. Consider the work of God, who can make straight which he has made crooked. So in the day of prosperity be joyful, but in the day of adversity consider that God had set one over against the other, to the end that man should find nothing after him. All these things I have seen in the days of my vanity, that there is a just man that perisheth in his righteousness, and there is a wicked man that prolongeth life in wickedness. So be not righteous overmuch, neither make thyself overwise, for why should thou destroy thyself? Be not overmuch wicked, neither be foolish. Why shouldest thou die before thy time? It is good that thou should take hold of this, yea, also from this withdraw not thine hand. For the fear of God shall come forth to them all. And wisdom strengtheneth the wise, more than 10 mighty men are that are in the city. As there is not a just man upon the earth that doeth good and sinneth not, so take no heed to the words that are spoken, lest thou hear thy servant curse thee. For oftentimes you know in thine heart that you have likewise cursed others. All this I proved in wisdom. I said, I will be wise, but it was far from me. That which is afar off and exceedingly deep, who can find it? I apply my heart to know and to search, to seek out wisdom and the reason of things, and to know the wickedness of folly, and even the foolishness and madness. I find more bitter than death the woman, whose heart is a snare and nets, and her hands are bands. Who pleases God shall escape from her, for the sinner is taken by her. Behold, this I found, saying, the preacher counting one by one to find the account, which my soul seeketh, but I find not. So a man among 1,000 I found, but a woman among all those I have not found. Lo, this only I found, that God made man upright, where they sought out many inventions. Number 8. So who is as a wise man, and who knoweth the interpretation of a thing? A man's wisdom maketh his face to shine, and the boldness of his face should be changed. So I counsel thee to keep the king's commands, in regard to the oath of God. And be not hasty to go out of his sight, and stand not in an evil thing, for he doeth whatever pleaseth him. For where the word of a king is, there is power. And who may say unto him, what doest thou? Whoever keepeth the commands shall feel no evil thing, and a wise man's heart discerneth both time and judgment. Because every purpose there is a time of judgment. Therefore the misery of man is great upon him. For he knoweth not that which shall be, for who can tell him what shall be? There is no man that hath power over the spirit to retain the spirit, neither hath he power in the day of death, and there is no discharge in that war. Neither shall wickedness deliver those that are given to it. This I have seen, I applied my heart unto every work that is done under the sun, that there is a time where one man ruleth over another to his own hurt. So I saw the wicked buried, who had come and gone from the place of the holy, and they were forgotten in the city where they had so done. This also is vanity. Hallelujah. Because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily. Therefore the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil. Though a sinner do evil 100 times, and his days be prolonged, yet surely I know it shall be well with them that fear God, which fear before him. But it shall be well with the wicked, because neither shall he prolong his days, which are as a shadow, because he feareth not before God. There is a vanity which is done upon the earth, that there be just man, and to whom it happen to according to the work of the wicked. Again, there be a wicked man, to whom it happen according to the work of the righteous. I said, this is also a vanity. And I commended mirth, because a man had no better thing under the sun than to eat, to drink, and to be merry, for that shall abide with him of his labor the days of his life, which God giveth him under the sun. When I applied my heart to know wisdom, and to seek the business that is done upon the earth, for also there is neither day nor night, seeth sleep with his eyes. Then I beheld all the work of God, that a man cannot find out the work that is done under the sun, because though a man labor to seek it out, he shall not find it. Further, though a wise man think to know it, he shall not be able to find it. Number nine. For all this I considered in my heart, even to declare all this, that the righteous, the wise, and their works are in the hand of God. No man knoweth either love or hatred by all that's before him. All things come alike to all, as one event to the righteous, one to the wicked, to the good and the clean, to the unclean, to him that sacrificeth, and to him that sacrificeth not. As is the good, so is the sinner, and he that sweareth, as he that feareth an oath. This is an evil among all things that are done under the sun, that there is one event unto all, yea, also the heart of the sons of men is full of evil and madness. It's in their heart where they live. After that, they go into the dead. For to him that is joined to all the living, there is hope. For a living dog is better than a dead lion. The living know that they shall die, but the dead know not anything. Neither they have any more reward, the memory of them is forgotten. All their love, their hatred, and their envy is now perished, and neither have they any more a portion forever in anything that's done under the sun. So go thy way, eat thy bread with joy, and drink thy wine with a merry heart, for God now accepteth thy works. Let thy garments always be white, and let thy head lack not ointments. Live joyfully with the wife whom thou lovest all the days of the life of thy vanity, which he hath given thee under the sun, all the days of thy vanity, for that is thy portion in this life, and in thy labor that thou takest under the sun. And whatsoever thy hand find to do, do it with all thy might, for there is no work, no device, no knowledge, no wisdom in the grave, whither thou goest. And I returned, and I saw under the sun that the race is not to the swift, nor battle to the strong, nor the bread to the wise, nor riches to men of understanding, nor the favor of the men of skill, but time and chance happen to them all. For man also knoweth not his time, as the fishes that are taken in an evil net, and as birds are caught in a snare, so the sons of men snare in evil time, when it falleth suddenly upon them. This wisdom I have seen under the sun, and it seemed great to me. There was a little city, and a few men within it, and there came a great king against it, besieged it, and built bulwarks against it. Now there was found in it a poor wise man, that by wisdom he delivered the city. Yet no man remembered that man, that same poor man. So I said, wisdom is better than strength. Nevertheless, the poor man's wisdom is despised, his words are not heard. The words of wise men are heard in quiet, more than the cry of he that ruleth among fools. Wisdom is better than weapons of war, but one sinner destroys much good. 10. So dead flies cause the ointment of the apothecary to send forth a stinking savour. So doth a little folly in him that is in reputation of wisdom and honour. So a wise man's heart is at his right hand, but the fool's heart is at his left. Also, when he that is a fool walketh by the way, his wisdom faileth him, and he saith to every one that he's a fool. If the spirit of a ruler rise up against thee, leave not thy place, for yielding pacifieth great offences. As there is an evil which I have seen under the sun, as an error which proceedeth from the ruler, when folly is set in great dignity, and the rich sit in a low place. I have seen servants upon horses, and princes walking as servants upon the earth. He that diggeth the pit shall fall into it, and he that breaketh the hedge, a serpent shall bite him. Whosoever removeth stones shall be hurt therewith, and he that cleaveth the wood is in danger thereby. As if the iron be blunt, and he doth not whet the edge, and he must put to it more strength. But wisdom is profitable to direct. Surely the serpent will bite without enchantment, and the babbler is no better. As the words of a wise man's mouth are gracious, but the lips of a fool will swallow up himself. So in the beginning of his words, of his mouth are foolishness, the end of his talk is mischievous madness. Also, a fool also is full of words. A man cannot tell him what shall be, or what shall be after him. Who can tell him? The labor of the foolish wearieth every one of them, because he knoweth not how to go to the city. So woe to thee, O land, when the king is a child, and thy princes eat in the morning. Blessed art, O land, when the king is the son of nobles, and thy princes eat in due season for strength, and not for drunkenness. By much slothfulness the building decayeth, and through idleness of the hands the house droppeth through. As a feast is made for laughter, and wine maketh merry, but money answereth all things. So curse not the king, no, not in thy thoughts. And curse not the rich in thy bedchamber. For a bird of the air shall carry the voice, that which has wings shall tell the matter. (11) Now cast thy bread upon the waters, for you shall find it after many days. Give a portion to 7, and also to 8. For thou knowest not what evil shall be upon the earth. If the clouds be full of rain, and they empty themselves upon the earth, and if the tree fall toward the south, or toward the north, in the place where the tree falleth, there it shall be. He that observeth the wind shall not sow, and he that regardeth the clouds shall not reap. As thou knowest not what is the way of the Spirit, nor how the bones do grow in the womb of her that is with the child, even so thou knowest not the work of God who maketh all. So in the morning sow thy seed, and in the evening withhold not thine hand, for thou knowest not whether it shall prosper, either this or that, or whether they shall both be alike good. So truly the light is sweet, a pleasant thing it is for the eyes to behold the sun. But if a man live many years, and rejoice in them all, yet let him remember the days of darkness, for they shall be many. All that cometh is vanity. Rejoice, O young man, in thy youth, and let thy heart cheer thee in the days of thy youth, and walk in the ways of thine heart, in the sight of thy eyes. But know thou that for all these things God will bring thee into judgment. Therefore remove sorrow from thy heart, and put away evil from thy flesh, for childhood and youth are vanity. 12. Now remember the Creator in the days of thy youth, when the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. When the sun, or the light, or the moon, or the stars be darkened, nor the clouds return after the rain, in the days when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease, for they are few. Those that look out of the windows be darkened, and the doors shall be shut in the street, when the sound of the grinding is low. And he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. And also, when they shall be afraid of that which is high, and fears shall be in the way, then the almond tree shall flourish, and the grasshopper shall be a burden, and desire shall fail, because man goeth to his long home, and the mourners go unto the streets. Or ever the silver cord be loosed, or the golden bowl be broken, or the pitcher be broken at the fountain, or the wheel be broken at the cistern. Then shall the dust return to the earth as it was, and the spirit return unto God who gave it. Of vanity, saith the preacher, all is vanity. Moreover, because the preacher was wise, and he taught the people knowledge, yea, he had good heed, and sought out many proverbs, the preacher sought to find acceptable words, that which were written was upright, even words of truth. For the words of the wise are as goads, and as nails, fastened by the masters of the assemblies, which are given from one shepherd. Further these, my son, be admonished, of making many books there is no end, and much study is a weariness of the flesh. So let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God, and keep his commands, for this is the whole duty of a man. For God shall bring every work in the judgment, whether every secret thing, whether it be good, or whether it be evil. I'll tell you the commandments they ought to keep. The commandments for man is in Exodus chapter 20, which God gave to Moses. And God spake all these things, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. That thou shalt have no other gods before me, that thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. For thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord, am a jealous God. I visit the iniquity of the fathers upon the children, unto the third and unto the fourth generation of them that hate me, showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me, and keep my commands. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that takes his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath, to keep it holy. 6 days thou shalt labor, and do all thy work. But On the seventh is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God, and thou shalt not do any work, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant or maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea and all that's in them, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath and hallowed it. God didn't create the sun till the third day. Through consideration, a 365-day calendar. But in the beginning, God didn't create the sun till the third day. It's a fun fact. All right, 12. Honor thy father and thy mother, that the days may be long upon the land, which the Lord giveth unto thee. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, his ass, or anything that belongeth unto thy neighbor. All the people saw the thunderings and the lightnings, and the noise of the trumpet, and the mountains, and smoking, and the people saw it, and removed, and stood far off. That's the Ten Commandments. 6. Back to the preacher, part 6. For there is an evil which I have seen under the sun, that's common among men, a man to whom God giveth riches, wealth, and honor, so that he wanted nothing for his soul of all that he desireth. And God giveth him not power to eat thereof, but a stranger eateth it. This is vanity. It's an evil disease. So if a man beget 100 children, and live many years, so the days of his years be many, and his soul be not filled with good, also that he hath no burial, I say, and a timely birth is better than he. For he cometh in vanity, and departeth in darkness, and his name shall be covered with darkness. Moreover, he hath not seen the sun, nor anything. This hath more rest than the other. Though he live 1,000 years twice hold, that he hath seen no good. Do not all go to one place? All the labor of man was for his mouth, yet the appetite isn't filled. So what hath the wise? What hath the wise more than a fool? What hath the poor that knoweth to walk before the living? So better is the sight to the eyes than the wandering of the desire. This is also vanity, and a vexation of spirit. So that which is been is named already, and it is known that's man. Neither may he contend with him that is mightier than he. Seeing that there be many things that increase vanity, so what is man the better? Who knoweth what is good for a man in his life, all the days of his vain life which he spendeth as a shadow? For who can tell a man what shall be after him under the sun? 5. I'll do this backwards. Keep thy foot when thou goest to the house of God, and be more ready to hear than to give a sacrifice of fools, for they consider not that they do evil. So be not rash with thy mouth, and let not thy heart be hasty to utter anything before God, for God is in heaven, and thou upon the earth, therefore let thy words be few. For a dream cometh through the multitude of business, and a fool's voice is known by a multitude of words. When thou vowest a vow unto God, defer not to pay it, for he hath no pleasure in fools. For that which thou hast vowed, so better is that shouldst not vow, than should vow and not pay. Suffer not thy mouth to cause thy flesh to sin, and say not before the angel that it was an error, wherefore God should be angry at thy voice, and destroy the work of thine hands. For in the multitude of dreams and many words there are also diverse vanities, but fear God. If thou seest the oppression of the poor, and the violent perverting of justice and judgment and justice in a province, marvel not at that matter, for he that is higher than the highest regardeth, and he be higher than they. Moreover, the profit of the earth is for all. The king himself is served by the field. So he that loveth silver will not be satisfied with silver, nor he that loveth abundance of increase. It's also a vanity. When goods increase, they increase to eat them. And what good is there to the owners thereof, save in the beholding of them with their eyes? The sleep of the laboring man is sweet, whether he eats little or much, but the abundance of the rich will not suffer him to sleep. And there is a sore evil which I have seen under the sun, namely, riches kept for the owners, to their own hurt. But those riches perish by evil travail, and he begetteth a son. There's nothing in his hand. As he came forth out of his mother's womb, naked shall he return to go as he came, and he shall take nothing of his labor, while he may carry away in his hand. And this also is the sore evil, that in all points as he came, so shall he go. So what profit hath he that labored for the wind? All his days he eateth in darkness, and hath much sorrow and wrath with sickness. Behold, which I have seen, it is good and comely for one to eat, to drink, and to enjoy the good of his labour, which he hath taken under the sun all of his life, which God giveth him for his portion. For every man also to whom God giveth riches and wealth hath given him power to eat thereof, and to take his portion, to rejoice in the labour. This is the gift of God. For he shall not much remember the days of his life, because God answereth him in the joy of his heart. So I considered all the oppressions that are done under the sun, and behold the tears of those that were oppressed. They had no comforter, but on the side of their oppressors they had power, but they had no comforter. So I praised the dead which are already dead, more than the living which are yet alive. Better is he than both they which had not yet been, that he ought to see evil work that is done under the sun. Also I considered all travail, and every right work, that for this a man is envied of his neighbour. This is vanity, and a vexation of spirit. The fool foldeth his hands together, and eateth his own flesh. So better is a handful in quietness than both hands full which travail in vexation of spirit. Then I returned, and I saw a vanity under the sun, that is one alone, is not a second, yet neither a child nor a brother, neither is an end of all his labour, neither is his eye satisfied with riches, neither saith he, for whom do I labour, and bereave my soul of good? This is vanity and a sore travail. So two are better than one, for they have a good reward for the labour. For if one falleth, the other will lift up his fellow. But woe to him that is alone when he falleth, for he hath not another to lift him up. Again, if two lie together, they shall have heat. But how can one be warm alone? If one prevail against him, two shall withstand him, and a threefold cord is not quickly broken. So better is a poor and a wise child than an old and foolish king, who will no longer be admonished. For out of prison he cometh to reign, where also he that is born in the kingdom becomes poor. So I considered all the living which walk under the sun, the second child that shall stand up in his stead. For there is no end of all the people, even of all that have been before them, but that also they come after shall not rejoice in them. Surely this is vanity and a vexation of spirit. 3. This is the bird song after this chapter. Turn. 3. To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under heaven, a time to be born, and a time to die, a time to plant, a time to pluck up that which was planted, a time to kill, a time to heal, a time to break down, a time to build up, a time to weep, a time to laugh, a time to mourn, a time to dance, a time to cast away stone, a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace, and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to get, a time to lose, a time to keep, a time to cast away, a time to rend, a time to sow, a time to keep silent, a time to speak, a time to love, and a time to hate, a time of war, and a time of peace. For what profit had he that worketh in all that when he laboured? For I have seen the travail which God hath given to the sons of men to be exercised in it. For he hath made everything beautiful in his time. Also he hath set the world in their heart, so that no man can find out the work of God that maketh from the beginning to the end. For I know that there's no good in them, but for a man to rejoice and do good in his life. Also that every man should eat and drink and enjoy the good of his labour. It's the gift of God. I know that whatsoever God doeth, it shall be forever. Nothing can be put to it, or taken from it. But God doeth it, that man should fear before him. So that which is now, that which hath been is now, and that which is to be hath already been. And God requireth that which is past. Moreover, I saw under the sun the place of judgment. Wickedness was there, and a place of righteousness, that iniquity was there. And I said in my heart, God shall judge the righteous and the wicked, for there is a time there for every purpose and for every work. And I said in my heart concerning the estates of the sons of men, that God might manifest them, that they might see themselves as beasts. For as that which befalleth the sons of men befalleth beasts, every one thing befalleth them. As one dieth, so dieth the other. Yea, they all have one breath, and that a man hath no preeminence above a beast, for all is a vanity. All go into one place, all are of the dust, and all turn to dust again. Who knoweth the spirit of a man that goeth upward, and the spirit of the beast that goeth downward to the earth? Wherefore, I perceive that there is nothing better that a man should rejoice in his own work, for that is his portion. For who can bring him to see what shall be after him? 2. Now I said in my heart, go to now, I'll prove thee with mirth. Therefore enjoy pleasure. Behold, this is also vanity. I said laughter, it's mad, and mirth, what doeth it? And I sought in my heart to give myself into wine, yet acquainting my heart with wisdom to lay hold on folly, till I might see what is good for the sons of men, that which they should do under heaven all the days of their life. So I made me great works. I built houses, planted vineyards. I made me gardens and orchards, and I planted trees of them of all kinds of fruit. I made me pools of water, to water therewith the wood that bringeth forth trees. I got me servants and maidens, and had servants born in mine house. Also I had great possession of great and small cattle, above all that were before me in Jerusalem. And I gathered me also silver and gold, and all the peculiar treasures of kings and of the provinces. And I got me men singers and women singers, and all the delights of the sons of men as musical instruments, and that of all sorts. So I was great, and increased more than all were before me in Jerusalem. Also my wisdom remained with me, and whatsoever my eyes desired, I kept not from them, and I withheld not my heart from any joy. For my heart rejoiced in all my labor, and this was my portion of all my labor. Then I looked on all the works that my hands had wrought, and on the labor that I had labored to do. Behold, all was vanity and a vexation of spirit, and there is no profit under the sun. And then I turned myself to behold wisdom and madness and folly. For what can a man do that cometh after the king? Even that which has already been. Then I saw that wisdom excelleth folly, as far as light excelleth darkness. So the wise man's eyes are in his head, but the fool walketh in darkness. And I myself perceive that also that one event happeneth to them all. I said in my heart, as it happened to the fool, so it happened to me. So why then I was more wise? And I said in my heart that this is also vanity. There is no remembrance of the wise more than of the fool forever, seeing that which is now is in the days to come shall all be forgotten. And how dieth the wise man? As the fool. Therefore I hated life, because the work that is wrought under the sun is grievous to me, for all is vanity and a vexation of spirit. Yet I hated all my labor which I had taken under the sun, because I leave it unto the man that shall come after me. And I know not whether he shall be a wise man or a fool. And yet he shall have rule over all my labor wherein I have labored, and wherein I have showed myself wise under the sun. This is also vanity. Therefore I went about to cause my heart to despair of all the labor which I took under the sun. For there is a man whose labor is in wisdom and in knowledge and equity. Yet to a man that hath not labored, there shall he leave it for his portion. This is vanity and a great evil. For what hath a man of all his labor, and the vexation of his heart, where he hath labored under the sun? For all his days are sorrow and travail grief, yet his heart taketh not rest in the night. This is also a vanity. So there's nothing better for a man that he should eat and drink, and that he should make his soul enjoy the good of his labor. This also I saw that it was from the hand of God. So who can eat, or who can hasten unto more than I? For God giveth to a man that is good in his sight wisdom and knowledge and joy, but to the sinner he giveth travail, to gather and to heap up, that he may give to him that is good before God. This is vanity and a vexation of spirit. Alright, number 1. Hallelujah. The words of the preacher, the son of David, the king of Jerusalem. Vanity of vanity, saith the preacher, all is vanity. So what profit hath the man of all his labor which he taketh under the sun? One generation passeth away, and another generation cometh, but the earth abideth forever. The sun also riseth, the sun goeth down, and hastens to a place where he arose. The wind goeth toward the south, and turneth about unto the north. It whirleth about continually, and the wind returneth again to its circuits. All the rivers run into the sea, yet the sea is not filled. Unto the place from whence the rivers come, thither they return again. And all things are from labor. I cannot utter it. The eye is not satisfied with seeing, nor the ears filled with hearing, nor the ears filled with hearing. The thing that hath been, is it that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done. And there's no new thing under the sun. Is there anything where it may be said, see, this is new? It hath been already of old time which is before us. So there's no remembrance of the former things, neither shall there be any remembrance of things that are to come, which those that shall come after. So I, the preacher, was king over Israel and Jerusalem, and I gave my heart to search and to seek and to search out wisdom concerning all things that are done under heaven. This sore travail God hath given to the sons of men for exercise therewith. And I have seen all the works that are done under the sun, and behold, all is vanity and a vexation of spirit. Hallelujah. Baruch Elohim Adonai. That which is crooked cannot be made straight, and that which is wanting cannot be numbered. I commune with my own heart, saying, Lo, I have come to great estate. I have got more wisdom than all that have before me in Jerusalem. Yea, my heart had great experience of wisdom and knowledge, and I gave my heart to know wisdom, and to know madness and folly. I perceive that this also is a vexation of spirit, for in much wisdom is much grief. He that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow. Now know the queen of the south traveled to the ends of the earth, across the ends of the earth, to hear the wisdom of Solomon. But I tell you that the queen of the south shall rise up against this generation, condemn it, because she traveled the ends of the earth to hear Solomon. I tell you, greater than Solomon is here. He has ears to hear, let him hear.